Hi, welcome to Dale McCluskey's Dog Training. My name is Dale McCluskey. I'd like to talk to you for a few minutes regarding the issue of aggression as it relates to behavior with dogs. And again, it always circles back to the whole context of unresolved power and dominance within the context of the relationship. So when you see how dogs, you gain some insight into how dogs interact and how they link us in through nature, what will happen, and this is the pattern that I've seen many times, is that owners will stick to more of a self-view of the relationship and connect with the dog on a highly emotional level first. So therefore, authority is lacking. It's not there. It's void in the relationship. It creates a vacuum for the dog that's seeking balance. So what happens is the dog will start to gain power. They'll start to, and then it starts to become expressed through different behaviors. However, what will happen at the same time is the dog will look at the owner that is giving away power within the context of a possessive power state, which means that they will start to hang around one person in that pack, in that family unit, more often than the other people. And what will happen is the owner that is being possessed in a nature way, owned, will see that as love. To them, they'll interpret that as the dog loving me more and the dog not trusting other people in the family. And that's not true at all. That's not actually the case of the links to nature. What's actually happening is the dog is gaining power, taking ownership of certain people because that's part of their power base. And that's part of the, when you think about dogs, in the context of nature, the lead dog will extend a higher level of decision making, and that's really authority over the pack. However, their thinking becomes more independent in a way because that's where their mind is going, over pack. They're making the decisions, but they're also their thinking is going into a higher authoritative level. So how this connects into us within the human relationship is the dog will take ownership of certain people and then disconnect, disengage, stay away from those other people whose personality types, whose thinking goes into more of an authoritative state. And then what starts to happen is the dog starts to associate those people in a challenge state, like challenging for that role. So, you'll get spouses, one spouse will become upset with that dog and see a problem, but the other owner will become really defensive and see it totally different. So really it's the owner that's giving power away that has the most work to do. So it becomes a very stressful situation for everybody involved. However, truly the solution still is with exposing and shifting power. And that's when you need intervention. That's when someone has to come in and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on, this is what needs to happen, and it's fixable. So the other issue is aggression. And that's when the same type of scenario can actually take place, is that an owner will give power away to a certain tipping point, a level where it's like the bathtub filling up with water and spilling out. However, they may not become the target of it directly because they're interacting on an emotional level which doesn't expose that extreme. So what happens is somebody or a situation will present itself where that power is exposed and then the dog becomes aggressive. That's why even as a trainer, when I interact with certain owners, I'm testing, I'm seeing what the baseline is, because I know that, even before I touch on the dog or come close to the dog, that dog may bite me, and it'll unbalance the owner's psychological path even more when that happens. So as a trainer, you have to be very careful, or as anyone that's linking into, it's not an issue of being aggressive. This is where everything gets kind of, lost or misunderstood, or those that are taking a really emotional, high emotional path, all they do is they kind of just see things from a very simplistic level. Authority's bad, love is good. I mean, they're so far almost out of touch with because they're so self-absorbed in their own thinking that they're blinded. So it's not about that. Of course, any extreme, with aggression is bad. I agree, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about nature needs authority. It's part of nature. It's part of the physical. If you really think, and then other people use arguments, well, I don't see it. Well, just because you don't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It does. There's truth there. But you have to put all the links together. You have to make all the connections. You have to kind of lay everything out and see the patterns to see it. And this is what makes this issue so difficult. So anyway, with aggression is fixable, but because in the context it's still a power issue. But you have to, the intervention usually takes more time, because usually what's happened is that owner has given power away for such a long period of time, so you have to change how they think in a way that's going to start to realign pack. It's going to start to expose and shift power. So that's where this whole context of, it's doable, it's fixable, aggression issue is fixable, but you're into more of a transitional approach with it. And it takes more time. So certain dogs, genetics and breeds do play a part. So you can imagine, generally, a pit bull will take power quicker because that's the genetic makeup of that breed. They're going to grab a hold of power faster. However, I've seen it doesn't matter. Any dog will grab power if you give it to them. They're going to take it. And so even in the context of even vets will debate the context of getting your dog fixed, neutered, fixed. But let's put it this way: 99% of all the dogs I've trained, over 800, 99% of them have all been fixed. So you can just see, you think about what I'm saying, you can see it really comes down to us, the influence of power. So that does help a little bit, but in relation to how much it helps, well, I suggest it doesn't, in the context of what the solution is. It really comes through us. That's just another way for an owner to try to shove the position of the solution onto the dog. Well, I get right into this thing where it comes to clickers and books or anything that takes the focus away from us being the solution. Take those items and throw them in the garbage can. That's how much the focus is on us. That's not what you hold in your hands, it's what's in your mind. The psychological aspect of this whole dynamic is totally misunderstood and not seen, because it's just like I put it in the context of a magic trick. When a magician has 2 cups and the ball is under the cups, the ball is power. You can picture the ball under one of the cups as being power. What's the magic man? What's he do? He tries to misdirect our eyes, so it misleads us into thinking the ball is under one cup when it's really under the other. Well, that's the context of the physical and the psychological. The psychological is actually moving that ball around, moving, exposing and shifting power, but it's what we see with the other cup. We think it's the physical doing the work, when it's really not. That's what my whole system's about. It really makes these connections. It connects all the dots for the owner. So even when the system appears to work, it is working, don't get me wrong, but it's from the psychological alignment that's doing it. And then there's a fail rate, though, with these systems. So if you look at conditioning in these systems, especially the love-based systems, there's going to be a higher percentage of failure rate. But that won't be seen, because oftentimes what is happening is the dog or owner are getting the blame for that. And it's being pushed to the side, and then you get into the whole standard of what is success. It's the unwanted behaviors that remain or diminish. That's the standard. So we have to get right into the whole, get right to the core of what is going on between dogs and owners to get to the solution. So that's what my system's about. So anyway, I just encourage you to think about what I'm saying. This hopefully will give you a little better insight. It is very difficult and hard because it's going to force us. I'm challenging how you think. So it's not about, that's what it's really about. It's not about, how we just want to immediately connect. I mean, I show you how that works too. So you can connect with your dog. That's not the issue. But what happens is once the dog has a certain level of power, we have to resolve that issue. So thanks again very much for watching this video. I hope it's, insightful. And if you have any questions, you can email me or call me, and I'll be more than happy to answer them for you. Thank you.